Hey guys, welcome back. Right, I gotta begin this video with a little bit of an apology. I've been gone for a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's just 'cause I've had exams quite a lot lately. I'm in the exam year, and of course, because of recent events, the current climate has made exam season a lot more harder than it usually would be, and a lot more revision and all that. But I am back. I am hopefully gonna try and do some more videos, and I've got water ready, and I'm all ready to basically, we'll do this video. Right, real quick as well, I want to thank you guys for 800 subscribers. Absolutely fantastic. Keep it up. Thank you so much. So anyway, to begin with, I'm going to first explain what the Speed Force is. It's the Flash's powers. So far, all you need to know is he can run really fast. I'll explain more when it gets to the point we're at. Number two, I am not giving him the full access to the Speed Force. I'm gonna make him have to basically train up. So anyway, it's time to get into story, and I'm gonna start with a cool monologue, I guess. So Deku's starting off with telling you guys that uh, for his whole life he's been running away. Yes, running away from, more specifically, Bakugo, due to him bullying Deku. Basically, he's constantly running away, but not giving up. He's always fighting for the right cause, and that basically it's why he wants to be a hero so much. Anyway, and then it flashes to, and then he tells the audience, if you didn't know, this is a story about how I became the fastest man alive, and the great, no, we'll just stick with the fastest man alive. So then where we're gonna start off this story is, it's in the classroom. It's a little before the classroom. We're gonna start off with saying the basic stuff. Of course, he's quirkless, he's still got bullied, everything sticks the same. But where I'm going to start my story is in the classroom. He gets told to, of course, swan dive out the window, and his book gets thrown out the window, like his research on the other heroes, which makes him sad because he's ruined it, and he wasn't fast enough to save it. Anyway, so he's fighting the well no he's fight sorry he's climbed out of the water, and then he started walking to the well so he's climbed out of the water, he's picked up the mug, and he's just there like, ugh, why did Bakugo have to do that? That was a bit mean. Well, I hope we're still friends. And he starts walking home. He takes a shortcut home, and that's of course when he gets attacked by the slime monster. After getting whilst getting attacked by the slime monster, he gets absolutely annihilated. What he's thinking in his head is, he's just not fast enough. Will I ever be fast enough? Why am I quirkless? He goes unconscious and is of course saved by All Might. He idolizes All Might to the point where he holds on to All Might, and All Might jumps away with him. All Might jumps away with him. Yeah, yeah. And after signing his signature, that's when All Might basically tells him he can't be a hero. Blah 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 blah. We all know this, and I'm just gonna say, we're at the point where Bakugo's fighting. The reason I'm doing this is because we've all heard this before. It's a basic story. I'll go into it more depth. Just tell me whatever in the comments if you want. So anyway, it's Bakugo versus the slime monster. So what he decides to do is throw his bag at the slime monster, and he goes in to try and punch it. Reason none of the other heroes are helping him is because there's nothing he can do. There's literally nothing he can do, and there's nothing the other heroes can do. They're all waiting for All Might, but All Might can't come, and Deku knows this. But Deku tries attacking anyway, hopelessly, he almost gets defeated by the slime villain, but then he gets struck by lightning, and the off effects of the lightning completely electrocute the slime monster. This lightning also knocks out Deku, but due to the static effect from the lightning, it causes the slime monster to basically freeze up, and a chemical reaction to happen with the slime monster from the energy being from uh, the energy being absorbed by Deku and kind of like thrown, and the excess thrown into the slime monsters. The lightning thought that would be the quickest way to get to the ground when it wasn't. So this is I'll explain a bit more what this lightning is, because it's out of the blue. It's like out of nowhere. It's quite dark outside, but it's definitely not like lightning weather. Anyway, so this causes the slime monster to basically have a chemical reaction with the electricity, causing it to freeze him over kind of. But it's like a reversible. It's like a weird reaction. So it causes the slime monster to harden up a bit, which, sorry, I thought I could hear somebody upstairs, which means that Bakugo can escape using his explosion quirk. And that's when All Might steps in and completely annihilates the slime monster after it recovered itself, which actually recovered quite quick. And and that's when, well, they see whether Deku's okay. Uh, he is unconscious, completely unconscious. Now it's time to explain what that lightning was. The lightning was, of course, the, well, Speed Force. But the Speed Force was being the Speed Force was also some lightning. So due to the Speed Force being what it is, it sent down the Speed Force and lightning. The Speed Force was absorbed by Deku as the excess lightning was sent out of Deku and into the slime monster, because usually what would happen, it'll go through the human body and go directly to the ground, but instead it went into the slime monster and worked and created, well, I guess you could say kind of like an electrolysis effect, but basically crystallization of the slime monster, which after it cooled down to normal temperature, it went back to slime, which it did quite quick, but due to the lightning going through it, it solidified enough for Bakugo to escape. But that's like the pseudoscience I'm going down. None of that really makes sense, but it does at the same time. But anyway, so everybody got out of it unscathed, other than Deku, who is now unconscious. Um, we wake up to find Deku in a weird hospital on a certain island. This island is, of course, I think it's called Island. I'll have to, I'll have to fix myself next episode if I'm completely wrong. But the island I am going on about is the island from the first movie, and I know it's technically non-canon, but you know, it's my what if. We'll go with it. So anyway, by the way, non-canon means non-real. Anyway, so he wakes up there, and he wakes up to the sight of All Might in his small form and the Doctor both looking over him. Uh, this is because they saw signs of him waking up, so All Might came to see whether he's okay, feeling the guilt, feeling that it was his fault. His mum is also at the end of the bed. She now knows the secret of All Might through All Might wanting to see Deku but not being able to see him in the hero form due to the time limit. But she only knows that he has the injury, doesn't know anything else. So, yeah, Deku, he wakes up after we find it's 10 months, which gives him literally a month before the UA exam. So he wakes up and everyone's like, oh my god, he woke up from the coma. And that's when he starts to get told some stuff about his coma. So first of all, the scientist said, I forgot his name, but All Might's friend, is it? Melissa's uncle. No, Melissa's dad, which makes uncle. So All Might's kind of like brother, but they're like friends. Um, So All Might's, I'll need to research the name after this. I'm so sorry, guys, but I'm gonna call him All Might's friend. You know who, the one who made the quirk multiplicator, the really smart one, basically talks to Deku about. Well, Deku basically asks, "What happened?" And then he's like, "Oh, you've been unconscious for 10 whole months." And then he's like, "10 whole months? I gotta start getting ready for UA." And that's when he gets up and realizes his body's not like shriveled, because he knows that after you've been in a coma for like 10 months, your body will be shriveled and all that, and you'll have to get like kind of no, not chemotherapy, sorry. You'll have to get certain types of physiotherapy to get your body working up again. But he realizes that he's all right, and that's when he tells everybody to leave the room. We got to do some tests on Deku. So him and Deku start speaking, and Deku's like, "Wait, why am I here and not in a normal hospital? And why is my body like not shriveled up? I thought you were meant to shrivel up. Is this like new tech?" And that's when he says, "No, it's not new tech. Uh, Instead of your cells decaying, they've started to rapidly regenerate. And as for why you're in this hospital, well, your heart monitor will constantly be going off due to what the hospital thought your heart was stopping. Of course, after a few tests, we figured out that your heart was beating too quick for the monitor to read it itself." Sorry, I was just taking a drink. Deku's like, wait, my heart was beating too quick? Is that bad? And that's when Mr. Shield, I don't know what to call him. We'll call him Professor. And that's when Professor says, no, we'll call him Doctor. Yeah, Doctor. And that's when Doctor says, we don't know. The hospital didn't know. So that's why we've taken you here. We presume it's somewhat quirk related, but you've been quirkless since a kid, so we wouldn't know. Maybe you're late in awakener. Anyway, are you ready to do some tests? And that's when Deku's like, yeah, I'll do some tests. So they do the basic blood rate tests and weight tests, and that's when Deku realizes he's actually got, well, what would be seen as a perfect physique for like running and fighting, but not like bodybuilder. Just normal physique. Like he's got muscles and all that. And Deku's like, I swear I didn't have these before. Is this another side effect of what's happening? And that's when the professor said, "Ah, yes, you're very observant. Anyway, so nothing seems wrong. Uh, would you like to stay here for a bit? Or would you like to go home? I hear that the UA exam's coming up. You can borrow our gym for a bit. We have, well, the top range equipment to basically become a hero." And then Deku's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm up for that." And so the professor guy says, "Well, you're allowed to train here until the hero exam. Do you mind if we also keep an eye over your vitals just to make sure that you're okay? It has been 10 months, and you are a good friend of All Might, so you do want to make sure you survive." And he's like, "Oh yeah, thanks for being nice." So anyway, he stays on I Island. I don't know what it's called, but he stays on I Island for a month. Well, no, like, yeah, we'll go for a whole month. He stays on I Island for a whole month. He trains in the gym for 3 hours a day, but this is training like weightlifting, like heavy weights that not a normal human could probably lift, and that's why they suspect his quirk is, well, running quickly. Of course, it's not. Um, he also gets closer to Melissa. They are now very close friends, realizing that they both admire All Might, if that makes sense. And and All Might has gone back to Main Island, but asked Professor to keep an eye on Deku. Professor realized there's nothing wrong with Deku. Um, Deku's mum is still panicked about the situation, but she's calmed down after a month, and Deku's ready to go home and get ready for the UA exam. That is when he gets on a plane and he gets home. Nothing really happens, so his trip has first started off at Island. So, sorry, I'm drinking water because my throat's starting to sound pretty rough. It's because I'm talking for like 15 minutes straight. So anyway, he's got back from Island, and that's when he decides, oh, okay, I'll start training again. So what his training regimen is, 10 km run, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, and 100 press-ups. Yeah, because that is the way to become a pro hero. I'm sorry if I messed up the reference, but if you get it, put it in the comments. I'm pretty proud if you do get it. If not, if not, you could probably look in the comments and find it there. Depends whether anyone watches this video, because I won't be surprised if my viewership's down. Anyway, so to get onto the story, Deku trains for another 5 days, and then he has one rest day, and now it is the UA exam. Of course, this time Deku wasn't offered one for all. The reason was because All Might actually, within them 10 months, is now thought about it and dead set on Mirio becoming the owner of One for All, which is fine, and pretty much, yeah. Of course, I am leaving this open up for debate that Deku could get One for All later down the line, but I will want to see whether comments whether to give him One for All or not, because the Flash is pretty powerful in the first place. But if you want to really overpower him, that's fine. So just drop it in the comments whether you want him to get One for All. Anyway, it's time for the UA exam. So Deku has over average strength, of course, due to he's basically muscly as hell, so he's able to beat up the robots, but he's getting like an average score. So what he does, he just runs up, rips off a part of the robot, and then he uses that as a kind of a dagger to get on top of the robot and cut the wires at the back, which just causes the robot to shut down and him to gain a point. He does that about an average amount of times, and this looks like it's enough to get him into UA. And then he basically senses that somebody's in danger and looks. He sees the big 0-pointer robot. He sees everybody running away. Then he also sees the girl. Then he also sees that somebody is trapped under the rock. Of course, when entering the UA exam, this girl saved her, and he realizes that this girl has saved her. So he decides that he's going to try and save her too. But he realizes if he wanted to save her, he's going to have to take out the 0-pointer. And that's when he feels a kind of burst of energy and decides to run at the robot. So he runs at the robot, and then lightning covers his body. And of course, he's activated the Speed Force. This Speed Force then activates, and he realizes he activates, but he doesn't at the same time. So what he does is he charges into the robot's leg, and this bruises his ribs and shatters his left arm, and he's a bit there like, oh god. But once he understood that he's got the speed, he uses the speed to run up the robot's leg, and then he uses the speed. Sorry, he don't run up the robot's leg. He uses his speed to get to Achaku, lift up the rock, grab her, and save her, and run away with her. And that's what he does. He doesn't end up fighting the robot in this one. Of course, he grabbed her with his right hand, and due to his strength, he can carry her. And then he lets go of her, and her clothes set on fire, and he pats her down to make sure, yeah. And then his own clothes set on fire, and then he pats himself down, and then he realizes he'd broken his left arm, and that's when the UA exam stops. So the UA exam stops, and he's healed, and then the wait happens to see whether he's in UA. Of course, he gets into UA with flying colours, but he realises that he's got some sort of a power, and that's when he knows the best person to ask for this. So what he does is he starts running to Island. Due to his speed, he can go faster than a plane usually would, but he has to try and run on water, which he doesn't think he can do, but he's gonna be like, couldn't I use the speed force while swimming? So what he decides to do is see how far he can run on the water, hopefully making sure that he can get past, and that's when he realizes with his speed he can actually run on the water. So he basically figures it out by winging it, seeing how far he can run like a skipping stone, and he realizes that he can just run on the water because of how fast he's going. As for speed, he's going about, well, he's not going too fast, but he's going pretty fast. So luckily the speed force is protecting him from setting on fire, but of course once he stops it isn't. So he runs, and he runs all the way to Island, which is when he has to stop, drop and roll because his clothes set on fire, and he goes to Professor. Professor, of course, asks him, "Oh, what's wrong, Deku?" And Deku's like, "Oh, I think I figured out what my power is." Then we cut off, and they're now in a testing room with a treadmill, but this doesn't look like a normal treadmill. It's like an industrial-sized treadmill that that looks like it could. Well, it just looks like a huge. Well, it's not like a huge treadmill, but it looks like a very well reinforced treadmill. So Deku. Well, no, sorry. It does. It is quite a huge treadmill because the treadmill is to test cars and vehicles, as well as super other speedy heroes, but none of them are as fast as him. Well, no, some are as far as, well, none of them as far as we know are as fast as him. It's to test people like Ida or Ingenium. So so basically this treadmill is to track his, well, to see his power. So Deku starts running, and then the treadmill slowly gets faster, and then Deku activates the speed force, and the treadmill matches his speed. But this is improper form of the speed force, and also the slowest connection yet. So he's only going like 1,000 miles per hour, which is still fast. Don't get me wrong, but it's nowhere near as fast as the Flash usually is. So he's running at 1,000 miles per hour, and Professor's like, "Oh my god, this is why your heart was beating too quick," and stuff like that. It was your body just reacting what it thought was normal. And so then the treadmill stopped, and his clothes, well, set on fire. That's when Shield was like, he noted it down, and he said, "Anyway, Deku, since you've run all this way, how about you go catch up with Melissa, sleep, and go home tomorrow instead?" And Deku was like, "Yeah, okay." So he stays and sleeps for the night, and that's when Shield Guy decides to, well, no, Hero Guy decides to stay up all night designing his costume. So he decides to design it, well, similar to the classic Flash, as you can see on the screen in the middle, but it looks a little bit more like high tech. So anyway, Deku wakes up tomorrow, and that's when Professor gives him the suit that it took, well, him all night to make, and he said he made it from scrap. He made it from scrap flying materials and scrap rockets materials that that from a failed rocket. Don't worry, the from a failed rocket due to the engine, not due to the heat resistance. So he says that that'll stop him from setting on fire, and basically this suit is a bit not well put together, but he says he's gonna work on a new suit. This will just do for now when you're running home to stop you from, well, setting on fire. So Deku runs home from Island, and that's when he gets the news that he's in UA to lead him up to the Aizawa exam. But anyway, this video's been quite long, so I just want to say sorry for leaving again, and yeah, this will be the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and all that if you've stayed that far. Remember to comment if you get the reference, and thank you and good night.